warm welcome to Power News, your window to the power sector. I'm Juhi Rajput. Let's begin with the top stories. Government to spend at least rupees 2,000 crore on solar mission. Renewable energy certificates witnessed a record trade in August. India looking to sell 500 megawatt electricity to Pakistan. Jindal Steel and Power buys Canadian firm for rupees 650 crore. BHEL assures EP Genco of equipment supply for power plants. NTPC to go ahead with Katwa project. Coal India Arm hopes to restart 6 mines in Odisha soon. Reliance Power starts controversial Sasan coal production. And Reliance Power to be among the coal giants soon, says Ambani. Well, those were the top stories of the week. Let's move to our next section, quick updates, to know the latest development in the power sector. Rajasthan will be the first state to get a loan from the Centre for Financial Restructuring of its discoms and bringing in power reforms. Union Power Minister Veerappa Moily, who was in the state, announced that Rajasthan would be allotted rupees 4,500 crore each by Power Finance Corporation and Rural Electrification Corporation. He assured that like Rajasthan, discoms in other states would also get similar help and the centre would launch a national level financial restructuring scheme. However, the states which opt for it will have to follow the set guidelines. Inflated power bills figured prominently on day one of the Delhi Assembly's monsoon session, with BJP members demanding to bring the private discoms under the purview of Controller and Auditor General and the Right to Information Act. BJP leader accused discoms of sending inflated bills to consumers and then disconnecting the electricity supply for not paying. He has stressed that power bills are the most burning issue in the city, with power tariff going up by 600% ever since privatization. He accused Delhi government interfering in the working of DERC and restraining its role. Countering the attack on CAG issue, Power Minister Harun Yusuf said the government had already given an affidavit to the Delhi High Court giving its approval for it and is waiting for the court's decision. India's top auditor has criticized GAIL India for extending undue benefits of rupees 246 crore to private power producers by supplying them cheap gas against a government directive and castigated ONGC for hiring a rig from Reliance Industries in an opaque and irregular manner. GAIL continued the practice despite CAG's earlier audit objection that rupees 227.37 crore revenue loss was incurred because it supplied cheap gas to 7 such companies from April 2006 to March 2010. Consequently, undue benefit to aforesaid ineligible customers increased to rupees 246.16 crore by March 2011 and would continue to increase if no immediate corrective action is taken by the Oil Ministry. State power utilities have been penalized for not complying with the provision of the Electricity Act 2003 while drawing power under the unscheduled interchange mechanism. In a path-breaking order, the Central Electricity Regulatory Authority has imposed a penalty of rupees 1 lakh each on 10 state power utilities and rupees 90,000 each on utilities in Punjab and Tamil Nadu for not having letters of credit and thereby causing non-compliance. The utilities have been asked to pay the penalties by September 15th. CERC in suo motu petition has ruled that utilities would have to get letters of credit as a payment security mechanism for the energy drawn under the unscheduled interchange mechanism. And now the news of the week. In yet another trouble for the government, a new report by the Controller and Auditor General has exposed the rot in the power sector. According to the CAG, the inefficiency of the National Hydroelectric Power Corporation has meant only 2 of 16 planned projects have been completed. The CAG report has said the cost overruns have led to losses of rupees 14,700 crore, adding that 10-year target of 11,813 megawatt of power. Had the project been completed on time, 70% of India's power shortfall would have been met. To talk on this subject, we have with us Mr. Yogendra Prasad, former CMD NHPC. Mr. Prasad, we have missed the target in all the 5-year plans. Government had an ambitious target of power to all by 2012 under the National Electricity Policy, which in fact looks a distant dream even in the 12th 5-year plan.
Electrified means reaching the distribution lines. It is possible because most of the villages have been electrified and only some are left over that will also be electrified under Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyut Yojana. But giving power to all villages seems to be just impossible. Day by day, availability of power in villages are getting reduced, because I also belong to a village where earlier we were getting 4 hours, 5 hours power. Now we are not getting 2 hours power. So unless we increase our installed capacity of the power plants, we can't send power to every villages. If there should be availability of power in the country, unless we do work on war footing basis, especially for power plants, and lot of importance is being given to the power generation, task is almost impossible.
We make plans, but they are not implemented effectively. In 2003, the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee launched 50,000 megawatt hydro initiative. But till date, not even the single project has started.
I am sorry to inform you that till date, even none of those projects which were included in the PM program in 2003 have been completed. Only some of the DPRs are getting prepared, but under implementation, none of those projects are there.
According to Controller and Auditor General of India, inordinate delay in planning and execution of 16 hydropower projects by 4 central public sector enterprises, including NHPC, has costed almost rupees 14,707 crore to the public exchequer. These PSUs were supposed to add 11,813 megawatt of hydropower during 11th 5-year plan, but their actual achievement was just 1,550 megawatt.
See, today after I left NHPC, I have seen the targets, I have seen those projects which were already halfway done during my period when I was continuing as NHPC. Still that is pending, and I have inquired about other corporations also. The implementation of hydro projects today in the country is very, very poor, and unless people have the know-how properly and they have courage to take decisions faster, implementation of hydro projects is not easy. Even NTPC started construction of hydro projects in 1997. Even after 15 years of time, they have not been able to commission single project. Hydro projects need lots of expertise, and leader of the hydro projects companies have to adopt the policy of taking decision, and hydrothermal mix, which should be ideally 40 and 60 to meet the peak and off-peak demand without any interruption of power. Today it has gone poor, and it has gone to 19%. It is as per the government figure. So unless we work on war footing and people understand their tasks, they understand the fundamentals of the engineering, they cannot take decision in respect of hydro projects.
Mr. Prasad, what could be the major reasons for delays in completion and execution of the hydroelectric projects?
People are not taking decisions. Contractors are claims are lying pending. They are not decided. So they have stopped the work. Things are not coming out properly. Board are not taking decisions. Properly, professionally competent people are not placed in the board. Hydro project is site specific. If roads are available, materials are available at site, and decisions are taking faster, it can be completed in 4 years. Even I have completed as chairman of the NHPC 2 projects in less than 5 years' time. But if proper planning is not there, proper know-how is not there, it may take more than 10 years, 20 years. It all depends the skill of the man who is heading the organization and who is going to complete the project.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, for joining us in Power News. We'll take a short break here. Ahead in the program, we'll have with us Mr. Arup Choudhury to talk on coal issues and NTPC's future expansion plan. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Planning Commission has reduced the power generation target to 76,000 megawatt from 1 lakh megawatt in the 12th 5-year plan. The working group fears that this could also slip to 45,000 megawatt if the issue of coal shortage is not resolved. This would be even less than 11th planned capacity addition of about 52,000 megawatt. The 76,000 megawatt target is in correspondence to 9% growth the country is targeting in the 12th plan. To talk on coal and other issues related to power capacity addition program, we have with us Mr. Arup Choudhury, CMD, NTPC. Mr. Choudhury, government anticipated almost 10% growth in the power sector, but the same growth could not occur in the associated sectors such as coal and railways. Coal production is lower than demand and required rail network is not in place. Don't you think the integrated planning approach which government had adopted has not been able to come on track yet, and that there has been a lack of coordination among different ministries?
Power sector has grown, It's not the power sector is not growing. And what power sector has done in the entire 11th plan is a history. It's for you all to see. It has done almost 2.5 to 3% of all plans together. But unfortunately, the main fuel still remains coal. It remains domestic coal because imported coal, the costs have been really sort of going haywire, if I could say so. We don't have enough gas. Imported gas is again very expensive. And domestic coal, the development has not kept match with the power sector development.
Like you said, coal still remains a main fuel. In fact, it will remain the principal fuel to meet the country's energy requirement for the next 30 to 40 years. So what should be done to accelerate the growth in this sector? Does the country need to end Coal India's monopoly status and open the sector for private and also appoint a regulator for the sector to increase the output?
Probably with the global development and the pace at which the country is growing, we need to have more thrust on coal mining. Whether Coal India will themselves increase their mining to match this, or more players would be required to come in, is something that we have to decide today. To decide this as to how much compensation will be paid to these people to invest in India and what kind of incentive they'll be given. An independent body is required. And that's why we have been saying about a coal regulator. Because you must understand that Coal India today is in a monopolistic situation. The Coal Ministry, which is the administrative ministry of Coal India, cannot operate as an independent regulator. A regulator must decide that yes, you make an investment, what kind of returns do you get?
Given the shortage of local supply, NTPC has planned to increase its coal import to 16 million tons this fiscal. That is, NTPC is going to meet about 15% of its needs through imported coal. Would you continue to meet the gap through imports, or are you also planning to acquire coal mines abroad?
We are a coal energy producer. We are not a coal miner. So it doesn't make sense for me to buy a mine which is going to take 20 years to develop. I can't wait for 20 years. So I need a mine which is producing straight away. Now, whatever mines we zeroed down, you know how the price variation has taken place. So maybe on a hindsight, we feel we've been fortunate that we did not pick up any mine at a costlier price, because then a lot of questions would have been raised. But being a power producer, my interest is that I must get coal at the cheapest possible price. That's what I'm interested in. So if I get it by simply a tender, or if I get it by acquiring a mine, I am open both ways.
Well, if we talk of the installed capacity, NTPC owns about a fifth of India's total capacity. As far as adding capacity in the current plan is concerned, initial target was to add 25,000 megawatt, but it has come down to 14,500. What is the reason behind lowering the target?
The way 11th plan, the power sector was growing, people thought, probably we could do between 1 lakh and 1,25,000 megawatt in the 12th plan. In that case, we had said, yes, probably we can also do 25. Today also, 14,500 is our target, and that's the target given by Planning Commission. And I have been saying on various forums that 11,000 megawatt of power is stuck up due to coal. Some of our mines which has been taken back, some of the allocations which has been given without indicating the coal mines. As a result, I can't go back to the Environment Ministry taking the clearance. Our target for 1,28,000 by 15th plan is on. We are on course of that. In any case, even if we do 14,500, we will be almost 55,000 by end of 12th.
NTPC is also doing projects outside the country like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Work on Sri Lanka's project is likely to start by this year end, while an environmental impact study is going on for its Bangladesh project. Other than these two, is NTPC planning to set up plants in other countries?
At the moment, see, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka is more of a friendship initiative between two countries. We being the largest power generator in the country, and also we being the government-owned central public sector. The government was depending on us to set up these two plants. We are setting up these 2 plants in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. At the moment, there is so much capacity to be added in the country. And there is no reason why I should go outside and install a plant.
NTPC also entered in hydro sector, but it was a major setback for NTPC when 600 megawatt Luhari Nagpala hydel project was scrapped. How has been the development on other projects such as Koldam and Tapovan Vishnugarh project?
It's not a setback for NTPC, it's a setback for the nation. After you spend 2,000 crores and you call off a project when all the tunneling has been done, most of powerhouse work has been done, and we say the project is scrapped, it is actually a setback to the nation. NTPC has not had a setback. In any case, the government has given us an assurance that all the money that we have spent will be reimbursed. So as such, as a company, we have nothing to lose. But I feel bad. Yes, it is a good project. It's a run-of-the-river project. There is no disturbance. The amount of water which comes even after the generation remains the same. And therefore, I do not know why it was taken off. The other projects are on. Koldam is on, Tapovan Vishnugarh is on, and all these projects are on, and we are quite optimistic of doing all the hydro projects which we have taken up. But again, as you said in the beginning, hydro is a larger subject. Whether as a nation we will capture all the hydro potential that we have to take a call at the central and the state levels. And as NTPC, I can assure you that we will participate in wherever the country wants us to.
The regulatory and governance failure at sub-transmission and distribution level has resulted in mammoth losses for the distribution companies. This has not only made these companies bankrupt, but also posing a threat to the upstream generating companies, because they have a fear of not getting the money for power to be sold to these distribution companies. What would you like to say?
As far as NTPC is concerned, there is no fear. We have a payment security mechanism. We get paid. Up to now, there is no outstanding payment for us. But let me tell you, what you raised is a very relevant point. We have to stop saying that Sadak, Bijli and Pani is free. None of them is free today. Tomorrow, water is also not going to be free. Good drinking water costs us money. So we must actually prepare our people to pay for the services that we use. That's why if that is agreed upon, look at the mobile phone. Even the poorest of the poor uses a mobile phone service and pays for the bill. So that's what we have to develop in our electricity sector. The consumer has to get used to pay. If the transmission and distribution losses are improved, the administering of the discounts are taken care of, and the state budget takes care of whatever they want to give as a matter of free electricity for agriculture or what have you, I think our problems are over. We have no problem. I mean, people realize that if you avail a facility, you have to pay for it.
India suffered the biggest grid failure last month. This was due to overdrawal and overloading in the grid. Don't you think that working independence of NLDC and SLDC is must for bringing grid discipline? And what would you like to say about the recent government directive that chief secretaries may be jailed for overdrawal of power?
I understand that it is attributed to my minister, and who has also clarified, saying that he just wanted to emphasize how important the issue is. It's not said that the chief secretary has to be put behind bars. But something definitely has happened in the checks and balances that we have in the system. And that is the one which is worrying me. Because the way the system functions, there has to be relays, there have to be checks and balances. So things should have by themselves, cut off in such a fashion that this kind of a large calamity would not have happened. That's what I feel.
Since conventional source of energy is getting exhausted, there is a need to explore ways to harness new and renewable energy sources in safer and efficient way. In fact, renewable energy has become a social compulsion for cleaner environment. Do you have any plans to venture into renewable sector in future?
Well, as you see, if you see our corporate plan, which is on the website, 30% of all our energy production by 15th plan will be from renewable resources. And we are already working on solar, on wind. But we must understand two things. One is that renewable energy is costly. Second is that it is unreliable. So the base load has to be coal. And today, since coal is our most easily available resources, we are 4th or 5th in the world in coal resources. And we have 114 or some billion metric tons of mineable reserves. We have much more, which is below a certain mineable level. So, and we are extracting less than half a billion. Why are we not doing more? Why are we not generating more energy so that we become a developed nation in 25 years? And then we are able to pay for all this renewable type of costly power, whatever cost there is. All these problems will get sorted out.
Thank you, Mr. Choudhury, for joining us in the show.
Thank you very much.
It's time for another short break. Keep watching Power News. Welcome back. India is expected to see renewable energy capacity addition of 30,000 megawatt with significant contribution from wind power over the next 5 years. At the end of 12th five-year plan, country is expected to have total renewable energy generation capacity of 55,000 megawatt. Out of the total power capacity installed in India, wind power energy accounts for about 9%. It generates 1.6% of India's total power demand. According to the estimations of Indian Wind Energy Association, India has the onshore capability to utilize 65,000 megawatt of wind energy that can help immensely in the future to meet our energy requirements.
India has the 5th largest installed wind power capacity in the world. As on March 2012, the total installed capacity of wind power in India was 17,351.5 megawatt. It is estimated that around 15,000 megawatt of additional wind power capacity will be added in India by 2017.
Wind power in India is the fastest growing renewable energy sector. We have already installed around 18,000 megawatt in the country, which constitutes to around 70% of the renewable energy into altogether. And it has very good prospects in future also, because we have kept a target of 15,000 megawatt for 12th plan. That means around 3,000 megawatt a year will be done. So it has a lot of good chances in future also.
The global wind markets have grown by an average 28% per year in terms of total installed capacity during the last decade. The International Energy Agency's reference scenario suggests that growth rates for wind power would decrease substantially in the coming years. In India, while the accelerated depreciation benefit for renewable energy has been scaled back from 80% to an effective 35%, we are seeing an increasing contribution from IPPs, public sector units, and captive consumers.
We have well-established manufacturing base in India. Actually, out of the world top 10, many suppliers have actually this building capacity in India. So that this sectors, there is a big scope of the next 8-10 years of the commercializations of sectors without much subsidies also. Even if this GBI and incentive has been withdrawn, still as a standalone, as a project financing, these projects are sustainable and these are going to take over the commercial power.
India is a key market for the wind industry, presenting substantial opportunities for both the international and domestic players. Today, India is a major player in global wind energy market. A number of major international players in the segment have already set up their base in the country.
Wind Energy Update believe that India is one of the top 3 leading countries for wind power over the next 5 years. Alongside India, there's a strong manufacturing base, there's a strong labour workforce, and there's already inherent knowledge of how to produce power in wind. The trick is to understand how to harness this as profitably and as quickly as possible.
India's wind energy sector has reached the world stage as government policy has created opportunity for domestic as well as overseas wind energy business, giving way to many players vying for the limelight. For now, providing comprehensive regulatory support and exhibiting political will to strengthen the domestic renewable market is an essential step towards mainstreaming renewable energy. Further emphasis is needed to shift the paradigm of capital subsidies towards performance-based incentives for building a truly global and competitive industry in India.
While the dismantling of the accelerated depreciation model is seen to have a negative impact on the industry in the short term, the introduction of GBIs is widely to be a good move for the long-term health of the renewable energy industry in India. There may be temporary drop in capacity additions, but in the long run, the quality of projects will improve and the investment environment will get better as well. With the new generation-based incentive introduced just over a year ago, we have seen the addition of 3,200 megawatt in 2011-12. With this, we come to an end of this edition of Power News. Keep sending us your suggestions and views at powernews@znetwork.com or call us on 011-405-60701. We look forward to your feedback. Do join us next week for more news and updates. Till then, goodbye and take care.